All right. Aloha and welcome. We're going to go ahead and start Kaliko. Oh, there she say. Kaliko, as is our custom, we like to, whenever we gather, honor all faiths, but also to acknowledge that we sure could use the help as we get through, this time in our history. So, Kaliko, mahalo for leading.
Mahalo. Let's pulikako. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the opportunity to gather tonight. We thank you for the leaders in the house. We thank you for our community members. We thank you for the knowledge that continues to come forward, the wisdom that has continued to be used, and a town that we continue to see progress in. Help us to discuss, help us to have conversations for ways always moving forward. And we're grateful for our kupuna that are beyond the veil, that continue to watch and cheer us on. We're home, and we're continuing to get home. And so thank you for being in the midst of all of our conversations today. And most importantly, take us all home to our families this evening. We ask this in your precious name, Jesus. Amen.
Aloha, everybody. Before we start the program, first of all, welcome. Good to see everyone here, Ohana. If we could just take a moment of silence for two reasons. Today is the third anniversary of the passing of Trey Evans Dumoran, one of our brave first responders. And so on behalf of him, his family, all of our community, all our first responders, I'll ask that. And secondly, since we haven't gathered for about a month, that we also be mindful and take a moment of silence for all that's happening around our country, especially in Minneapolis, and that we again be mindful of all those who are suffering and going through hard times. So if you could just take a moment of silence for both those. Thank you. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Kaliko. All our slides are available, as always, on mauirecovers.org. And as always, we want to remind everyone, we want all of us, ourselves, and you and your ohana to take care of yourselves. So please use the resources. You can scan the QR code. You can go to mauirecovers.org and get the slide deck that we're sharing. But most important, it's just like riding an airplane. Make sure you get your oxygen so you can help more people get their oxygen. Tonight, we're going to have some updates available for you. You're going to hear from Sarah from EPA on the Wahikuli Gravity Sewer Project. How's that going? It's coming along, and she's here to give you an update. We also have our directors from Environmental Management as well as Parks and Recreation. Public Works, Jordan Molina was supposed to be here tonight, but he is unable to come. He has to take care of a family with a household of flu. So we want him to take care of his keiki and his ohana and himself. So he'll be back in the next, we'll aim for the next community meeting for Public Works. And then of course you hear from Office of Recovery today with their update. We always like to share something positive and good that's moving forward. And here on February 21st, and I'm sorry, this is the flyer they gave us. It's light blue with white on it. But if you go to mauirecovers.org, you can pull a copy. You'll also see it circulating, I'm sure. But they're going to start Lahaina Third Saturdays. You know, like Wailuku First Fridays. How cool is that? So Lahaina Third Saturdays, 10 to 5 at the Lahaina United Methodist Church. So this is a group called the Healing Journey Team, a branch off of the Economic Recovery Commission, made up of all Lahaina people. So it's a way to come together and generate opportunities, kind of like a makeke combined with resources. So please check it out, February 21st, coming up soon at Lahaina United Methodist Church. It says, come eat. Everything starts with that, yeah? Come eat. So go eat, shop local, and they'll have entertainment as well and activities and resources. We're going to be again here on the first Wednesday of March, same place, same time, and we hope to bring Public Works with us. I'm going to call up Mayor here to continue on.
So I really only had one major thing to say. Congratulations for the extension of the FEMA housing. How's everybody? Good, yeah? So our friends that are here from FEMA, we want to say a special mahalo for all the work. There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes to make things happen. The help of the governor, for sure, and his contacts that he's made, our different state departments and partners, and of course our very own county staff that that have put all the effort in to make that happen. So I know the temperature was brought down. I know the anxiety levels have changed and not as they were. But I think the lesson for all of us is it's going to come around in 12 months again. So let's not wait until then. This could be the last time they extend it. We don't know, but we should behave as if it is so that we can be ready and prepared. And at least when that was announced, we had 946 families still involved in that program. And so we want to see that number come down. I just going to continue to say that every month, that as we, as things start to come back, people can move into more long-term solutions. I did want to, as I usually do, acknowledge the advisory team members who have stayed on as volunteers way longer than they thought they were going to. I don't even know what we agreed to when I first asked them in September of 2023, and here they still are. So Lorilei Degama, Kaliko, Storer, thank you so much for you guys' work. I gotta just tell you guys, every Monday they meet with our team to talk about what's happening. And so I know a lot of you folks know this because you contact them, they share your thoughts with us. We have some of you come on those calls too. So I'm just going to keep thanking them as well for the effort they put in. They love your community so much that they give their time, along with Nestor, along with Earl, and Kim Ball as well, Coach Kim. So anyway, just wanted to say thank you to that. I'll be available for questions later. We have a lot on the agenda, so let's move on to the next. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just laughing because the advisory committee didn't really know what they were getting into. And when we started meeting, if y'all remember, we'd meet weekly, right? Every week we come. Some of you don't know that we were going up to Kula every week. So Tuesday night, the whole team, county, state, federal, we'd run to Kula Tuesday night. Wednesday night, we'd run to Lahaina every week for months. And then as we progressed, we, ended up doing okay in Kula, better, than we started. And so we ended here.
Sorry. No, the advisory team wanted to meet twice a week. We met on Mondays and Fridays for the first few months, and then we realized that's too much. But honestly, they were willing to go that extra, and now it's only once a week, but that is so much as well. So I gotta tell you guys that. It was twice a week in Lahaina with these guys.
Yeah, all for free. So appreciate all they do. But also for you, because this is, I don't know if we hit 100 meetings already, but we just keep coming. So I have to tell you, no other county or disaster site does this. Every municipality says, you guys are nuts. You're going out there every month. We're like, oh no, we gotta go. We like seeing everybody and sharing. So Tamara, Councilmember Paulton, was hoping to be here today, but she is also called away, last minute traveling to take care of Ohana stuff. So I asked her, she wanted to share something. So I said, okay, yeah, give me some bullet points. And then she sent like 2 paragraphs. So I don't know. So I promised her I would share it with you. So it's important enough to her. And this is your district council member. So I just want to make sure we fulfill that. So she sends her aloha and apologies for not being here tonight. She did fly out just today. Mahalo to everyone who was able to attend the public hearing last night. There was one at the Lahaina Civic Center based on feedback that she's been getting from the community. She will be proposing an amendment to the 5-foot height increase to 35 feet in the historic district to allow it for residential workforce housing projects and keeping the language that would allow structures used for public and quasi-public purposes greater than 35 feet, and those that were destroyed in the August 8th fires may be rebuilt to their previously approved height. So if you have questions about that particular, please reach out to her office. She wants you to know that at the February 6th council meeting, she's looking to pass Bill 15, which gives residents in the burn zone the option to rebuild with factory-built housing made within the state of Hawaii, should they desire to. It will not apply to 201H, 2.96, or 2.97 projects. I hope you know what that is. You can Google it. Other structures, commercial, etc., and will have a 5-year window to accept permit applications until December 31st, 2031. That's a proposed sunset date. So these are the types of homes that were built across Lahaina and currently being built as teacher housing by Dowling. The state exempted staff from requiring permitting for factory-built modular homes, and this would allow for permitting and transport guidelines within the burn zone only. So some of you know that there was another bill, Bill 122, she said from 2025. She wanted you to know that currently it's in Councilmember Cook's committee, and it hasn't moved. So given the urgency and the request for more options by all of you, she drafted Bill 15 just to give you those options. So it's coming up in February 6th. So that's a message from your council member who unfortunately could not be here tonight. And it's recorded. So yes, Councilmember Paulton, we said it, because I know she's gonna look later. Is Sarah here? Okay, no? Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so we were expecting Sarah from EPA to give you an update. I'm not sure if she's stuck in traffic somewhere. Okay. Okay. All right. And then we brought back Shane. Shane never goes away. He always tells you, this is my last one. And then he comes again. Oh, okay.
Thanks, Mahina. Hi, everybody. Good to be back here again. Shane Hagawa, Director of Environmental Management. I can give an update for Sarah on the Wahikuli project. So we recently hit 100% design, a huge milestone. Thank you. So what are the next steps? We'll be having another presentation with more details in the next Lahaina community meeting. But we just wanted to let everybody know in that area, we are at 100% design as we planned. Okay. So tonight I'm going to give updates on our environmental management projects in Lahaina. A lot of you saw this presentation or this exhibit before. I'm using the same one. I have it color-coded just to help people understand where we are. So the light purple is our wastewater treatment plant. We have two projects there. One is the R1 process expansion. That's a project that helps us to be more efficient in processing more R1, which is reusable, reclaimed water. That one is at 100% complete, and it is currently in operation. The other wastewater treatment facility project is a dewatering upgrade, and that design is 100% complete for construction, with services during construction pending, and the construction contract has just been awarded, so we've selected a contractor for that. And then in orange, that is our R1 recycled water system expansion. The orange is the one that goes from the treatment plant going up to where you see the 300-foot. And that one entails a pump station, a force main, and that construction is approximately 80% complete. And the next step is we are in the design at that 300-foot elevation. We were going to use a reservoir, but we are currently designing tanks. So we did a little bit of shift in the design, and that design is approximately 10%. Let's see, the red, which is further Mauka, that is our R1 system expansion force main, and that takes the R1 water from the 300-foot storage, more Mauka to 700-foot elevation. And that one we selected our design consultant, and we gave our consultant the notice to proceed on January 5th of this year, so just last month. And then in dark blue, which is our siphon and dish distribution, that goes from the 700-foot elevation. You can kind of see it at the bottom right of the page. And what that is a R1 distribution line that takes it south toward Lahaina from the 700-foot elevation storage. And that one, we have our design consultant selected, and we are going to issue notice to proceed soon to start design on that. And then in the dark pink, you can see that Kanapali area. This is our Kanapali R1 water distribution system. We are currently in construction. The construction is at about 35% complete. The bulk of that project is R1 distribution lines to service the resorts in the Kanapali area, near the Hyatt, the Marriott, that area. So we have waterline A is about 13% complete, waterline B is about 45% complete, and waterline C is about 81% complete. And then the laterals to the different resorts is about 13% complete in construction. So we're well underway in that project. And then in the light blue, which is adjacent, Honopilani Highway R1 laterals. So that one is in design, and the design is about 68% complete. And we anticipate going into bidding for construction October of this year. So that project installs laterals off of a R1 line that's already under the highway, and that'll service the resorts like the El Dorado, the resorts a little bit more Mauka, past the Sheraton. And then in green, we have our Honokoi R1 distribution system. So that's just a little bit more north, kind of by the old Embassy Suites area. And that one, we selected a design consultant, and the notice to proceed for them to start design was issued January 5th of this year. And then in yellow, there's Napili Pump Station number 1. And that one, design for construction is 100% complete, with services for design during construction pending. And the construction contract was executed with the contractor, and we are about to issue notice to proceed for construction. And then in dark purple, furthest north, we have our Napili Force Main number 1 replacement. The design for construction is 100% complete. The construction contract was executed, and we are pending notice to proceed, which will be issued shortly. And that line replaces about 3,000 linear feet of 20-inch diameter sewer line that goes from the treatment facility to Kame'eui Place. So you can see the purple line from the treatment facility going north along Lower Honopilani Road. Next slide. Okay, so this slide in yellow, we have our Napili Force Main number 2 replacement. The design is 24% complete, and we anticipate bid opening for construction October of this year. And this project will replace about 1,000 feet of 16-inch diameter sewer line from Napili Pump Station 2, that's near Piina Place, to Akahele Street. And then in darker pink, that's our Napili Pump Station 2 renovation. That design is 95% complete, and we anticipate bid opening for construction April of this year. In green is our Napili Pump Station number 3 renovation. The design for construction is 100% complete, and that construction is underway, and it is about 5% complete. And then in light blue, we have Napili Pump Station 4 renovation. The design is about 83% complete, and the construction is about 64% complete. Why is the design 84% complete? Because we still utilize the consultants during construction to help out with shop drawings and analysis during the construction. So that construction is 64% complete. And then we have some projects that are not shown on the map. One is Lahaina Force Main number 3 replacement. That one, the design is 21% complete. We anticipate bid opening for construction October of next year. And that one replaces about 2,200 feet of 20-inch diameter sewer line within Honopilani Highway. And that'll stretch from Wahikuli Road to Malolo Place. Next, we have Lahaina Pump Station 5 and 6 renovation. The design consultant has been selected, and their notice to proceed for design was issued January 5th. Next is Lahaina emergency sewer repairs. That's within the highway. So there's some areas that were damaged during the disaster that was still operable, but now we're trying to get to it to fix it. And that one is at 50% design, and we anticipate the bid opening for construction in October of this year. And that one is various places in Honoupilani Highway. And the last one for sewer projects is the Lahaina emergency sewer repairs. We had MOCON do all the repairs soon after the fire. And that one is just spot repairs here and there that we added to their contract. So the majority of the contract is done, but there's certain areas that we added to their contract. So that is still ongoing. And then I have some updates from our EPNS and Solid Waste Division. We're anticipating a West Maui High Five Redemption Center opening next month. I know a lot of you have been waiting for that on the west side. It's going to be operated by a local resident. It's supported by Lokahi Pacific. The proposed location is the same location where the former one was, kind of by the smokestack area. Materials accepted are going to be redeemable plastic bottles and cans again. And then the timing is dependent on the procurement process because they're supported with a grant, and we have new terms and conditions with grants with the county, so we're kind of working through that. So that might stall the opening a little bit, but the anticipated opening of operation is next month if everything goes well. Olowalu Transfer Station, we heard from the community. We have a used motor oil collection site over there. People were saying it's not enough. They go over there and the thing is full. So we did double the capacity of that. I hope that's been working out. So we went from 1 collection tank for used motor oil to 2. And our vendor, I believe they go and empty the tanks twice a month. So if anybody goes there and you see those things full often, call my office, let me know, and we can try to adjust that contract and maybe get another tank out there. One big one that happened was we just got awarded a EPA Swiffer grant. And what that is, it's a solid waste infrastructure grant for recycling. And that one was $3.6 million. And what that money is going to be used for is to provide 2 different sites in Upper West Maui for recycling, drop box, and also collection events. Those of you may have used our collection event that was at the Civic Center parking lot above the courthouse. We had that monthly. You could bring your white goods, your appliances. That had to stop temporarily. But this money is going to allow us to acquire land. First, we have to find suitable locations. So we're kind of thinking Upper West, maybe Kahana area, and further out Kapulua to help those residents out there. And then land acquisition, as I mentioned, and also infrastructure improvements. So infrastructure improvements is like paving, getting the site ready, putting in some bins, basically using that grant money for those 2 different locations to help provide services for us in West Maui. And that is it for DEM. So I'll be here if you have any questions, any of these projects that are near you, affecting you, and you have questions about it, come and see me after, and I'll be more than happy to help answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. We know it's time to bring our Parks and Recreation Director up. He's been before you many times or in the past. So we will bring up Director Pat McCall to give an update.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for having me here again. And I'm not quite sure about Mahina's many times. I've been out here several times, but not as many as I'd like to, that's for sure. At the risk of turning this into a power read instead of a PowerPoint, I'm going to just, as our slides come up, I'll kind of fill in the gaps. And I'm sure all of you, I'm hoping you can see it. If you can't, we'll let me know. But go ahead, Mahina. So just an update on a lot of the work that we've been trying to do on the out here. By park with Lahaina Rec, what we have on Rec 1 side, what we have completed with is, you may have noticed, we've been able to remove the old decaying playground. And that area, we repaired the pavilion's roof and helped with getting the new siren installed. Got new dugouts in fields 3 and 4. And what we're scheduled to do here, the construction of the full playground, the bid will go out in the next week and a half for the construction. We are completed with the plan and design phase. I do want to maybe address some of the questions that may be coming a little bit in advance here. We recently put out a press release about some playgrounds that we're building on the other side, upcountry in Kahului and Kihei. And we immediately were asked, well, why isn't our playground in this contract? It's a separate contract, and it's a different company. And the reason why this one took a little bit longer is the shade structure for the new playground here is the largest that the county has ever attempted to build. Okay. And so we went back and forth quite a bit with the design firm, with the engineering, because we need this structure to withstand the Lahaina winds and everything else. And so we didn't want to approve it early. We finally got it done just last month, and we're ready to go now with the bid to get this out. Post the West Maui Little League season, we'll go ahead and finish up rebuilding the scores booths in there and doing also some fence work. At Rec 2, we have, again, completed several things with the roof replacements, with the restrooms. Field 5 and 6 got new dugouts. We got the new bleachers in. The new scoreboard is in on Field 5. The current maintenance that we constantly go on, we have a crew within the county parks department that goes to parks all over on the island on an annual schedule, and basically malamas the field a little bit and gets it up for the district staff, and that is an ongoing item. And we will also, there's some exciting news that's pending, some of the field work there. I don't want to make announcements ahead of time, but I think you guys are really going to like it when it comes out. I don't want to be cryptic, but I don't want to jinx it either. All right, next one. At Wahikuli, at the Terrace Park, so the USACH and the sewer work that used us as kind of as a base yard has closed up. The court has been resurfaced, redone. We're currently removing tree stumps that need to be removed before we can put in the irrigation system. And we have a brand new irrigation system going in for the entire park. Then we'll be able to resod the park, and you'll get all of that new grassed out. We've fenced in 3 of the 4 sides and are waiting. Once that final work is done, we'll be able to go ahead and do that. We'll also have to address some of the gravel work, of course, that was left behind, but with the new resodding and whatnot, that will be addressed. We did include this work in the slide, though this is not in-town area, but out in Napili, we've finished getting out some of the shipping containers that were there. The ADA sidewalk project is completed, along with the batting cage and also the shade structure and playground area there. We repaired all the irrigation work that was needed. And in this coming budget cycle, we will be resurfacing the basketball court out there as well. Okay. At the Lahaina Civic Center, we replaced the actual playing surface. We finished in August. And those of you who've never walked down on that surface, we were at nails on the wood floor already. The nail heads were at the top, so that floor needed to be replaced. We put in a new design type floor, which should last longer and perform better. We also replaced the AC system in the gym and the social hall as well. You need to know that the gym's AC system, bubble gum, duct tape, zip ties, that was about what was holding it together. I'm surprised that we got it to last, that it did last that long, but you have a new, updated, very functional system in there now. And we're finally happy with that. The social hall will be getting some interior lipstick coming up here with some new cabinets, counters, etc. going in downstairs. We are looking, here's the big news. It's not necessarily at the Civic. This is going to be down at Rec 2. If you followed the budget cycle last year, the council approved our request, and we are building a new community center down in Rec 2. Also, we're building a field house, and what we mean by field house is that's a covered court area. It'll be multi-courts, so you will be looking at courts that can be used, and they'll be multi-function. You can play volleyball, basketball, pickleball, futsal, etc., and it'll be a covered area. For those of you who've been on the Big Island, maybe you've been to the Billy Canoy Center out there, it's going to be something similar. Okay, a large outdoor court area, and side by side will be the new community center as well. I met that we met with the design team today, and they are chomping at the bit. They're very excited. They'll be holding their community meetings with you to ask you what you want. G70 is the group that's doing it. I believe some of you may be familiar with them. They're working with the Office of Uivi as well, designing the Royal Complex area. And so we are really excited about that. I believe they were overdue for this area before the fire. And so now we're getting it, and I hope to be around to see it. We expect, best case scenario, construction would be complete in early 29. Okay, worst case scenario, they expect mid 2030 for both facilities. Okay. And for the Lahaina Aquatic Center, we issued the notice to proceed with the design company last month. We will be retiling the entire pool, installing also a photovoltaic system as well. New offices, new showers, new locker rooms. We're going to reposition the entrance because the design for that entrance was unsafe as for sight lines, etc. So it's going to be moved a little bit. Again, there'll be community outreach to go over that with the community. Also involved in this is the kiddie pool. I hope this doesn't break too many hearts, will be removed but be replaced with a splash pad, and it's going to be designed to be more of a water recycling and saving. It's also a safer actual play facility for little ones. And so that is, the design process started last month, as I said. So we issued that notice to proceed. And The construction should start, I believe, next year. Yes, that's the, and next, okay, Ainakea Park and Kilauea Mauka. We've completed some pad reset alignments work. We will be doing some retaining wall work on the Makai side of Ainakea Park. Kilauea Mauka, we've gone into a partnership with Goodfellow Brothers and Hui Hulao. We will be installing a new playground there as well. Okay, so that one is coming, and with a shade structure, yeah, just so you know. And the next one, Paunau Park. So Paunau Park, for those of, I'm sure you're Lahaina residents, you're aware of it. It is a small neighborhood park, but we have a new irrigation system in it. Unfortunately, we're not watering as much as we want to, but we will be increased because of the water shortage, but we will be increasing that. We've changed all the chain link fence, etc. A parking lot, an ADA small couple stall parking lot on the bottom. We received a lot of concerns from the community there that it was sort of unsafe on the bottom there. So we're putting in a small parking section that we have the design completed for, and the installation of a neighborhood playground will also go into that park. Got good news today. It looks like that might even be moving up because of some an agreement that we have with someone who's going to be helping us along with that. So that park as well will be getting a play structure this year. And we continue at Malululele with our agreement with Naikani. As many of you know, this area down here is going to be, is what we're referring to as the Royal Complex. I would let the Office of Uivi address that as they are directing that development of that plan. Kamehameha is going to be a part of that. We currently have a lease agreement with them with Hueova'a. The one part that I have insisted is for park, I have asked to them as they develop their plans is to make sure that they keep beach access for the public. Okay, we don't want to do anything that's going to limit people from getting to the beach. So we're going to keep beach access through Kamehameha, and we've done some necessary requirements. I just put it up there for those who want it out at DT Fleming with backflow systems, etc. And Laniopoko has been up. For those of you who are regular visitors to Laniopoko, you know that we have a water source issue, okay? And I want to be very honest and transparent with you. The meter for Laniopoko Park is down at Puamana Park. Okay, and always has been. Okay, so that whenever we have a problem with that transmission line, obviously then the park is without water and we need to do the repairs. We are currently working, it's a long process because of the location with the beach, but to bring the water directly across the street, so we're not going to have that issue in the future, but getting that design and permission to cross the highway there and the road and whatnot. But that's what we're working on for Laniopoko. Yeah, and those are just sort of a little bit of the timeline. I won't read all of that out to you, but that's what we're looking at. So it might not always be obvious, but we are working on improving the park system out here on the west side, and we hope to continue to do so. We have received quite a bit of support from the council, from the administration, and we look forward to continuing to do that. That's it from me, and Mahina, I'll give it up to you.
Thank you, Director Pat McCall. Here comes the shortest guy I know, John Smith from Office of Recovery.
Thanks, Mahina. Thanks, everybody. Good to see you again. Thanks, Shane and Pat, for those good updates from your departments. Really appreciate all the detail. I have more slides than I normally do tonight. I'm not sure how that happened, but I'm going to do part of it. I'm going to ask Jeannie to come up and do part of it, and then I'm going to come back, and then we'll pull Mayor back up at the very end. You guys have seen this. This is our standard permitting update. This is always updated on the website, but let's go to the next. Who has the? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not paying attention. And you guys have seen this too. Here's another slide. This is a very detailed, kind of nerdy slide, but really what we're trying to show everyone on this slide, and this is all, we crunched all the data from all the permits, is that the permit application to completion time is really trending down. So we hired 4-Leaf, we worked with the departments, and we keep saying we're getting faster at it, but we can actually show that now. So we'll post this on the website if people really want to dig into the data, but the trend line is going down. So on the left side of the bar, that is days. And at the end, on the far right, we're down to about 50 days. And then some of the outliers down below are down to like 25 days. So it's actually really good. So that should be really good news for those who haven't been able to apply yet. But when you hit apply now, you're going to go faster than you did a year ago. Same kind of chart, just trending in the right direction. The bottom one is showing that all the completed projects are trending in the right direction. So the permit process is going down. The completed project is going up, and we're trending in the right directions just from a statistics standpoint. As an engineer, I think it's really cool to show it that way. You may not think so, but we will post this if you want to dig into it. Is this a video? Let's watch the video. Wow, that was awesome. So I hadn't seen that yet, and I haven't been able to make it to one of those events yet. But I know Mayor made it, and others. The Hot Kapuna Nights, we're going to keep doing it. We may not always do it in that venue. We may move it. We got to talk to Pat about this, about moving it to the Civic Center maybe. But I'm sure Pat would be okay with that, right? He's outside. He didn't know I was going to ask him that. Commercial permitting workshop. So this is coming up. Aaron and I have been working on that. It's February 10th. That's next week. This one's going to be over in Kahului at the MAC. And we just want to put a shout out for all the commercial owners. This is, really to help work through the permitting process, specifically for those businesses. I've been asking for that for a while. And we're going to jump into Ho'okumuho. So I'm going to have Jeannie come up, and then I got a whole bunch more stuff to talk about that's related to Ho'okumuho. Sorry if I'm going fast.
Aloha and mahalo for having me. Thank you. All right, so just a few updates. As John mentioned, he's going to take back over and provide even more updates. But for first-time home buyer opportunity program, we have 26 families that are out there shopping for homes. And as of, I believe, Friday this week, we'll have 5 households that have closed on their properties and moved into their housing. So yay! Awesome. So application numbers have not changed since last time. Obviously, we've stopped accepting applications for that program. So those are remaining standard, and we're continuing to work through the rest of those applications to determine eligibility. Just a couple of notes. We have received some questions about the prioritization for first-time homebuyer assistance. So for this program, the first priority folks are those that were displaced by the fire, so lived within the burn zone at the time of the fire in August 23, and also have an income 80% AMI or less, so 80% of the area median income or less. At this point, like we've talked about before, those households that are priority ones are the ones that are going to be receiving the first-time homebuyer assistance. Because of the overwhelming number of applications at this point, it's not looking like we're going to be able to get to those other tiers. So priority 3 and priority 4 folks should have received a letter letting them know that. The priority 2 folks, we're still going through and verifying income, and they will receive notification as that income is verified. I also want to emphasize this first come, first ready. So there are lots of applicants in there that have applied like day one, the program opened, but have not yet responded with documents that have been requested by their program specialist. So if you have applied and haven't heard anything, it's likely that your program specialist is trying to reach out to you via phone or email. So you want to get a hold of them as soon as you can because your applications are being processed as we receive documentation. If you aren't sure and want to talk to somebody, we have a table of lovely folks right here that can help you today. They're also available at the Lahaina Resource Center as well as the Maui Mall, the Kahului location. But please be responsive when you get requests. If you can turn those around within a week, maybe less, that would be really helpful to help move the eligibility process along. And that applies not only for the first-time homebuyer, but also for the reconstruction program. If you've applied to that, make sure that you're being responsive and getting those documents back. If you need help, these folks can help you as well. Like I said, if you're not ready right now, come on over to the centers, give us a call, and we can help you find those documents and get the things that you need to get ready. As we continue to progress through the programs, I wanted to remind everyone about the timelines associated with the program. So reconstruction program, once you apply, it does take a couple of months to get through eligibility. From there, like I said, as soon as we get your documents back, we can move through the eligibility process and start working on environmental reviews for your property. We're very close to having the necessary paperwork ready for the environmental reviews to start. So the sooner we can get paperwork back, the faster we can move in the direction of working towards that construction start, which is that big box in the center there. Once construction starts, just a reminder, it's potentially a 12 to 15 month process, depending on where your home is at. We'll dive into those individual timelines with anyone who's an applicant, talk through what the construction timelines look like. If you have any questions related to your specific case or want to know more even about the program and how long it's going to take, let us know. We can answer all of those specifically. All right, so for reimbursement, again, if you have already reconstructed your home, so reminder for reimbursement, you have to have your home completely done before you submit an application. If your home has been completed and you submitted an application, it does take a few months to get through the intake and eligibility process. Once that is complete, it takes approximately 3 to 4 months for that reimbursement check to happen. So if you've applied maybe a couple of days ago, don't expect a check tomorrow. It's going to take a little while for all of that process to work out, but we will evaluate and the program specialist will reach out to you and let you know if you've been approved. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to John.
I should probably just let Jeannie keep going, but I'll jump back in. So the multifamily rental housing programs, these are not the first-time homebuyer ones. These are not the reconstruction for single family. These are the multifamily. We opened up applications for those. We've received applications and we're processing them now for both recon and newcon. The one that we can talk about is the Front Street Apartments project. So that project, a state project, it is under review, but it's looking likely that it'll be eligible for funding from DR to help fill that gap. So if you guys remember when we first came in to talk about DR funding's meant to fill the gap from all the other programs. So they have to use their insurance and they have to use their FEMA money, and then DR comes in and makes it whole. So we're looking at helping to fund the Front Street Apartment project, and that's just one of them. I've lost the clicker again, I'm sorry. And then, you know, that's the housing projects on the multifamily side, but while that's going, we know that we have a lot of work to do in infrastructure and public facilities. So we've been working with our infrastructure departments, like Shane in particular, water supply, you guys know Chemo, Jordan at Public Works, all those departments, they all have big projects. And Mayor, right there, I didn't realize it was on the slide, but maybe at the end we can talk about that one. But one of those projects is the northern bypass that is being applied for right now by the state. We have $563 million available for that program, so that's a combination of a couple programs and lots of really good big projects to help housing. Mitigation is another one of the set-asides in the action plan, and it gets used in combination with infrastructure, and it's strategic. One of the strategic pieces of mitigation, and this is a question that we get, you know, because the CDBG-DR fund is primarily meant for us to help build back houses and to keep our infrastructure working well to support those houses. But HUD also says, hey, if you're gonna do this, you need to invest in mitigation projects. One of the mitigation projects that we've identified, this was through the public action plan process, was funding a buyout program. We've talked about that in the past, but this gives a little bit more detail about that program. This is specifically for the historic districts 1 and 2, and it's all that property, Mackay of Front Street, that maybe that folks would want to engage with us in terms of selling to the county for public space. So that's the essence of the program. There's more details there, and that's actually part of our action plan updates that are going through right now. I think this slide's a little bit out of place, but you guys do remember the Resource Center hours of operation. If you need to see us, come see us in Lahaina or come see us in Kahului at the Maui Mall. If you need updates on anything to do with our CDBG-DR program and Ho'okumuho, this is the site. There's a link on Maui Recovers directly to this site right on the front page, so they work interchangeably, but this is the site that HUD requires the county to own and maintain. So if you notice, it's a .gov site. We have to do it that way because of the HUD funding. So we came in with the action plan. We made a few updates to it. I've already talked about the hazard mitigation buyout program that gives a little bit more detail on that one. These are a few of the other updates in the action plan amendment. So, you know what, I'm gonna have Jeannie come back up. That's too much. Can you do this?
Yes. Yeah. All right, so for single family new construction, remember I just talked about the, I'm going to skip to the second one first. Okay, so I'm going to skip to the second bullet first. So I just talked about single family reconstruction and reimbursement and explained the timelines associated with that. The way that the action plan originally stated was that we had to serve all the reconstruction clients first before we could start issuing those reimbursement checks. Obviously, we want to do that simultaneously so that we can help people reconstruct and also send out reimbursement checks, right? So the action plan language is being updated to allow us to do that. So that's one of the changes, that second one on the list. The single family new construction. So this is a program that has not started yet. We are in the planning phases. We're creating program policies for this program. So what we're doing is adjusting the prioritization for single family new construction only to allow for displaced renters, folks who are living in interim, temporary, like FEMA housing or other sorts of interim housing solutions, to receive priority for those homes that will be constructed. Again, this program's not up and running yet. Program policies will be out very soon, and as soon as applications are available and more information is known, we'll definitely bring that back to everyone. The last one is adding a planning activity. So this planning activity is reallocating funds from the admin pot of dollars into planning, and this will help to update the long-term recovery plan, as well as help the County Office of Recovery with some additional planning efforts.
And just to tie things together, you know, the FEMA extension that we got, one of the requirements for us to get that was to help to make sure that we prioritized families that FEMA is helping right now. So essentially, we're meeting that requirement through this update. So I think that's important, just to tie the two funds together. HUD and FEMA are separate, but they do talk to each other and we do work together. All of this stuff is located right here. So please scan that, and then if you have your phone, and then the public comment period has been extended to March 3rd. So all of this you can digest, and you can put your public comments in on anything that we just talked about. If you have questions, we'll be here tonight. If you have questions for FEMA, they'll be here tonight. We already updated the FEMA discussion. I just wanted to let you know that, and this is a slide that we had in before, but we're not going anywhere. And I think Mayor said that before, and I'm going to ask the Mayor to come back up and close this out here in a second. But essentially, we're committed for the DCMP to move forward. We're committed to working with the state. We're committed to all these planning efforts to make sure that this recovery is holistic, both on the infrastructure side and on the human services side. So I wanted you folks to know that. We'll keep coming back, and we're going to stay together as an Ohana. But Mayor, you want to talk just a little bit about maybe some of the things that I may have missed?
Sure. Okay, thanks, John. Well, you guys got a lot of information tonight from all of our directors that were here, and I just wanted to thank them for the work they put in, the report that they gave. But one of the things I wanted to touch base with was John's report on what's happening. Can I just see, show of hands, how many of you have been coming for the last 2.5 years? Okay, many of you here. How many of you have asked for an extension of the bypass? Yeah, just about everybody, right? Yeah. So that's going to happen. That bypass is going to be extended. One of the things that held that back was the funding. You guys all know that's Honopi-Lani is a state highway. We're working on trying to realign that highway so that it's safe for people to get in and out of Lahaina. You guys know when you travel, some of the days when the water's up, the waves are up. So there is a program, there is a project, and that was probably the main priority, was to realign Honopi-Lani Highway. So that's a state project. So when there's more projects than there is money, they have to prioritize which one they're going to do first. What we helped with, and I want to thank John because it was his idea, was to have the state apply with the county, this is true, for $100 million. And we approved that. So we're saying, yes, we'll give you $100 million from our CDBG DR funds to complete that highway. Now, they got to put in about $120 million as well. But I'm just letting you know it's a massive project. It's one you folks have been asking for. It's one that Lahaina has wanted. And it's going to help us with our evacuation routes. I'm going to tell you the irony of this program or this project was that it came about because of the tsunami warning. When you guys were trapped or you couldn't get along, if Honopi-Lani had been taken out, we were lucky, but had it been taken out, everybody would have been stuck. So that was what prompted John to come and see me. He goes, Mayor, I think we got to change our request. I think we got to ask money to change that bypass. So it's going to improve evacuation. It's going to improve access. It's going to improve access to other neighborhoods that are going to be coming online along that. It's going to help us with infrastructure, meaning we can run power and water and other lines. Because some of the roads are going to be suspended over some of the gulches. And it's a lot easier to run infrastructure under a bridge than it is trying to get through Blue Rock and other stuff. So I'm just going to kind of give you a preview. So we are waiting for final approval from HUD, but the application from the state came in on our side. We're good with it. As long as HUD says it's okay, we'll start that project as soon as we can. So we're hoping to announce that later, but since we're here now, I wanted to say one other comment before opening it up for questions. Mahina mentioned that pretty much we stopped counting at 100 community meetings over this time. And I don't think it's the number that's important. I think what's important is that the reason we've been coming, and it occurred to me, and I think I should say this to you all, is because when you folks heard, we heard. You know what I'm saying? That's why, right? So that's the first reason. The second reason is we're not here to walk in front of you. We're not here to walk behind you. We're here to walk alongside you. Okay? So we'll keep coming. Mahina.
Okay. That's why we just keep coming. And you know, some of the meetings have been tough, but it's okay. We just come back. And then you folks work with us. So we're going to move into our Q&A. I think almost all your questions are for John, right? That's why he's sitting close. I do want to mahalo Akaku because Akaku is always here for us. And I do want to acknowledge that we have the state's Deputy, oh, he was here outside. Deputy Director of Human Concerns, Joe Campos. You know, he's been with us from the get-go, flying in and out of Oahu. And Trissa Spear is here, Second Deputy of the State Department. So they've always made themselves available. I cannot tell you what a great partnership it's been with that department, as well as the rest of the state. Okay, so we all know how it goes. Raise your hand, you have a question, we'll do our best. Go ahead.
Okay, hold on.
Yes, sir. Oh,
This question's for John.
see?
Yeah. Thank you again to the mayor and all you guys working so hard. We see it, we appreciate it, and again, can't thank you enough. A lot of us were just down at the Mala Wharf. I got a small favor for you. The state is doing some repaving of the area, and I guess there's a section of the road that goes from state to county. It's pretty short. It would be great if we get the company that's doing that repaving to finish the road up to Front Street. I got Finn's number. I can give it to you. Maybe we can make that happen.
Sure, that sounds like a doable thing.
All right.
Thanks.
One more.
Hi, my question's actually for Shane. I was around a lot of the early R1 conversations, and I was curious, the shift from the reservoir to the tanks. As you know, we had a pretty good fire in Mahinahina recently, and reservoirs just seem to be so much more versatile and cost efficient. Why are we switching to tanks? Reservoirs can store so much more for much cheaper per gallon and double as being available as a firefighting resource. And are we so far down the road that we cannot reconsider that decision?
Thank you for that question. That's a great question. There is a valid reason why we made the shift. So one reason is there's something that the state regulates whenever you have a reservoir. It's a dam certification process. So whenever a reservoir is considered to be a dam. I think this got spurred from the Kokee issue on Kauai. There's a lot of effort and reporting that goes along with owning and using a reservoir. That reservoir is considered a dam. So when you talk about cost, liability, and you factor everything in, it just made more sense to go to tanks. There's cost of maintenance, vegetation. There's cost of maintaining the dam wall, which would be the Makai side of the reservoir. I know your point about the utility, more utilization because it's an open area. But with an open area, you also get algae issues, that type of thing. So when you look at the overall cost, it may be more in certain situations. I'm not saying every reservoir is like that. There are certain reservoirs that are not considered to be dams, and those might be more useful as a reservoir. But in this case, our studies show that tanks are the way to go. There's more upfront costs with tanks, but the overall cost over the lifespan is better in this situation. I hope that answers your question.
And Shane, you can
we're gonna
stay
go ahead.
there because
For Shane?
I have a couple for you on the same thing. And that was the same concern I had, is that we were kind of told before that we could get reservoirs and it could be kind of double for firefighting, which when you lose everything in a fire, that's kind of a priority over LG and whatnot. Also, it could be a public resource for, you know, hikes and stuff like that to go up to a reservoir like at Kapalua. So I hope that you guys will still possibly consider it. Is Waiakuli a reservoir? Used to have a reservoir there. Is that where the new R1 water, the blue line that you had on your graph, is that where that's going? And will that be a reservoir?
That is where the terminus of our R1 line is currently in our 6-year CIP plan, is the Waiakuli Reservoir. We're not sure if we're going to keep that a reservoir or tanks. I'm not saying it's going either way at this point. We just got to do more due diligence. There is some complexity with those reservoirs, is that they span over 2 different landowners, the state and a private landowner. That's just a hurdle. It's not impossible. It's just complex. But at this point, I can't say if we're going to keep it as a reservoir or convert it to tanks.
And then how far is that R1 water going to go for irrigation? Will it go across like Lahaina Luna and get the dry area where the fires keep starting? Will the R1 water reach over to there and kind of help keep our community safe in the future?
So that is in the planning stages. Right now, at the end of our 6-year CIP, we terminate at the Waiakuli Reservoir, but we are looking to bring that further south even. We need to figure out the path. There's different landowners involved. But as far as environmental management, that's the direction we're going.
Okay, and then my final question is, with Kaanapali getting the R1 water, is there any chance that we can get some of, because Kaanapali has their own water resources, is there any chance we can get some of their water so we can water our lawns more than once a week and we can wash our cars and we can actually turn on the faucets in our homes in Lahaina? So is there a chance that for the R1 water they're getting that's ours, can we get some of theirs in reciprocity there?
Wow, we think alike. I actually, since I was at Water Supply as deputy years ago, I realized the value of R1 to offset potable. And then when I came to DEM, I carried that knowledge and said, hey, we got to start targeting offsetting potable. However, most of the water users in the area closest to our wastewater treatment plant is provided by a private purveyor, private water. Hence, the thought came, same like you, if we provide R1, can we get something back? So, knowing that, we started an R1 interdepartmental group. It was DEM, water supply, housing was part of that, OEV and Ag was part of that as well, but mainly housing, water, and DEM. And the whole goal of that group was to discuss exactly what you're talking about. How do we get private water back into county pipes if county R1 is supplying them? My understanding is it's very complex. State has a lot of oversight with seaworm. They regulate a lot of the water usage, but we are working on that. Thanks to John, he's provided support. We transitioned from this small kind of ad hoc county group to John's department, who's providing support under a one water concept. You want to? Oh.
That's good. I have a question for John. So when you're
Okay.
it's a good segue. Thank you.
Well, before you ask that question, the whole One Water Lahaina concept is something that grew from, you know, this interdepartmental, interfaith, governmental agreements that we had on how do we best use the water. And so One Water Lahaina is taking everything that Shane just said, we're pulling it all under the recovery arm, and we're working at what's the best way to use that R1. But so thanks for that question.
Well, and I want to thank this administration because this idea was put towards like back in 2012 and kept getting shot down with all the lawsuits with the Lahaina Wastewater Reclamation Facility, and we could have solved that lawsuit with this solution. Had this administration been there in power, it would not have gone to the United States Supreme Court. So I appreciate this administration and they're willing to do what they're doing. My next one is for you. I hear about Front Street. What about Lahaina Surf Apartments? And what about the senior housing that was up Lahaina Luna? Is that part?
Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about the specific projects that were applied for yet until we've looked at them and determined eligibility. I can just tell you that 5 of them and one of those is in there, but at least. But they are part of the application process. So the stuff that we're talking about is stuff where we've looked at it, we've made a determination that there's eligibility, and then there's still a process for us with HUD before we actually make an award. So things like the bypass and things like Front Street Apartment, we've said, yeah, these projects look great. They meet all of the criteria for the HUD DR award, and that's something we can apply to that. There's still a process to go through, and that's what Mayor's alluding to in terms of like, it's not final yet, but they're looking really, really good. The ones that I can't talk about are the ones that are in process.
And then my final question for you is, you said Historic District 1 and 2 are eligible for open space if people want to sell the Mackay of Front Street. Is the front Baby Beach area, if any of those homes have setbacks and they don't want to rebuild, are those parcels that are right along the coastline also be considered in that? I didn't see that in the plan or the newspaper article, so I was wondering if that could be included, because there was supposed to be a 6-acre park in Coahoma Village, and as part of the settlement agreement, they did say that if any of those lots became available and was feasible, that we could get those as like to make up for the loss of the park space. So I was wondering if that is a consideration.
It is a consideration, and that's the kind of comment that we would welcome in the action plan like right now. But I can also tell you that this was a very Ho'okumuho DR specific presentation, and we have county open space funds that also have this same purpose. So there's a couple other things that we're working on in coordination with this fund to make this more holistic, even outside of the historic district. But those are one-off conversations. But those are good comments, so feel free to add that into your comments to the action plan amendment. Thank you.
Okay. One question here.
Hey, John, Kai.
Hey, Kai.
Sorry, I don't know who to address this to. And we just had the meeting down at Mahalo. They may have answered some of the questions. The mitigation projects that are going through the 88 county parcels, the work that Amos and his team has been doing out at Olawalu is phenomenal. The work that they did by Jodo Mission to clear the Keawe, phenomenal. We had those 2 fires in September. We called the state in September and asked them when they were going to do the same on the other side in the graveyard. They cleaned the fence, and I know fire prevention is down there. Are you aware, or is anybody focusing on the state to get them to clean that out? Because if that goes off, I'm going to lose Lahaina luau, the ash, the wind, all of that is going to go. And we saw the fires in September, and it was freaky because it was being lit and set. So I don't know if you have an answer, but whatever's possible, mahalo.
Yeah, I would normally ask DLNR to weigh in on that particular. Is anybody here from? You got it? Okay, come on. Give her the mic.
Actually, so right by Mala, it was me, my neighbors, and I had done that as a sort of an action of community kuleana because it was not being done, and it was a lot of, is it belong to the county? Does it belong to the state? Does it belong to the county or state? And, you know, we kind of just got tired of it, and so this is what we talk about doing, is like activating the community. It's, I'm sure everybody from the county just close your ears, but it's like, go out there and activate your community and, you know, get your neighbors together and clean up because, you know, there is a lot that these guys are doing. And, you know, we need to come up with solutions. We need to go out there and do it ourselves. One of the things though is if, the county or the state could provide a green dumpster to get rid of all that waste, because we did chip out quite a bit of it, but the other side of it is when the state went through and they did a terrible job cleaning up, they just pushed all of the debris to the side, creating this fire hazard, and that's why we had that fire. So that's it. And thank you, Kea, earlier. If we can get the rest of that road paved, that would be awesome, because they're talking about doing only half of it.
Thank you, Yoyoy, for that. I just want to address that dumpster comment. So our department, DEM, we have our EPNS division. We are planning to roll out a community green waste dumpster program. I believe it's going to start, don't quote me on this, maybe in a month or two. It's a grant program, and what you can do is you apply for a dumpster, we deliver it to your property, you fill it up, and we haul it away. And that's to help all of these different communities with the green waste problem. Very nice. There's a multitude of issues with that, right? Fire mitigation. There's also coconut rhinoceros beetle that's on our doorstep. So this program is going to help get green waste off of private properties, help the residents so that we don't continue the coconut rhinoceros problem by mitigating the propagation of the larva or the young. So that addresses your problem with the EPNS is our Environmental Protection and Sustainability Division. So if you go to the county website, Environmental Management under EPNS, when that program rolls out, we should have information on how you apply for that green waste dumpster program. Thank you.
Thanks, Shane. That was my favorite question. I had two different people answer it for me voluntarily.
One more question.
Okay.
Just wanted to give a shout out to the Parks and Rec. All of Hawaiian Immersion on the island of Maui did their closing makahiki at the rec center. So we just want to say mahalo. The grass is green. We got to have lunch on the grass without a hali'i. So I just want to shout out. And also, West Maui Little League did their grand opening this past Saturday. And boy, was it a sight. It was so beautiful to see all kupuna, parents, children in the jumping castles all over the field. Coach Earl did the blessing where he coached for decades. So I just want to say to all the Parks and Recs, mahalo.
Okay, we've got Koa up front.
I've got two questions back here.
Okay, and then we'll do one more, and then we're going to get, okay, great.
Hi, question for Shane, just to follow up on. Very excited to hear about the progress on the R1. Just wondering if we could get some perspective. I know pre-fire there was 5 million gallons being injected. How much of the R1 do you think is going to offset the 5 million gallons?
Good question. So pre-fire, we were generating about 4.1 million gallons of R1. Post-fire, it dropped to about 3.1, so about 1 million gallons less. So most of our R1 distribution system was not affected by the fire, right? A lot of it is out in Kanapali area. So the reuse percentage went up. We're at about, I want to say, in the 60% reuse range now. 3 of those projects I presented on tonight, the Kanapali R1, the Honopilani lateral, and the Honokowai extension. Those 3 projects, when completed, that's going to shed about another 900,000 to 1 million gallons of R1 peak usage. So where does that leave us? If there's no further wastewater going to the treatment plant, which we know is not going to happen, rebuilding is happening. But if everything stays stagnant now as far as what's coming in, after those 3 projects are done, we'll be about 100% reuse. And then we have Lahaina rebuilding, further development, contributing to wastewater, hence the other projects to take in north, Mauka, and then south. So our goal is to keep being at 100% reuse if possible.
Okay.
And one more thing I'd like to add about that other comment about the reservoir versus the tanks. And I forgot to mention this, but part of our design and planning takes mitigation into consideration. Bringing the R1 south, we're going to put stub outs so that people can fill up tanker trucks. Fire department has these inflatable pools that act like reservoirs for the helicopters to dip. We're going to put stub outs so those can be refilled, and then the helicopters can fill, dip. So we don't really need reservoirs. There's other technology out there that we can get the R1 to address the fire mitigation.
So, yeah, 100% awesome. You mentioned the offset of the potable, and we don't know if they're going to give it back, but can you talk about how much that would lessen the draw on the aquifer? So the amount you're going to, if you get 100% reuse, is that a 5% reduction in the draw from the aquifer, 10, 20%?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that. Again, the discussions are happening on how to get that water back to the county. I don't know where, that's more on Department of Water Supply. Our aspect and our priority is to get the R1 distributed. As far as getting the water back for potable, I'm hoping Water Supply can take on that and move forward, but I'm sorry I can't answer what percentage.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your questions.
I have a question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you. My question is for Pat, Parks and Rec. Thank you so much for your update on all the parks. Appreciate that. I guess my question is for all of the neighborhood parks that you spoke about. One of the things that concerns me is that there's no restroom facilities in these neighborhood parks. And in my mind, I'm thinking maybe because they're neighborhood, you should be going home to your own home to use the restroom. But the parks, especially the neighborhood parks in Lahaina, they've been doubling as sports facilities because we have too many kids playing sports and not enough dedicated sports facilities. So parks like Kilauea Mauka, Paunau, they've all been used for football and baseball, for all the different leagues. And so there's a lot of athletes that don't necessarily live in these neighborhoods that don't have facilities to go when they have to go mimi. So I guess maybe it's not even a question, it's a suggestion that as you start to restore these neighborhood parks, that you consider some sort of bathroom facility. If it's not gonna be a long-term permanent facility, then at least leasing portables so that our kids can have a dignified place to use the bathroom. Thank you.
Okay. And I will say thank you for the suggestion. I will go ahead and take that back to my departments and look into the possibility of those. Obviously, a lot of hurdles, but we can look into it.
Composting toilets.
Half the room just said, "Oh God, no." The other half said, "Yay." But again, we'll consider all of the options, and we do. I do need to tell you that we do have an issue again, and I'd like to be frank about it. Due to the vandalism with portable potties, no other term for, I guess, portable restrooms, our contract is outrageous now, to the point where we are now required, when they are destroyed, we have to pay for the replacement. And this is occurring on a regular basis in various areas. I, for one, do not like portable potties. I think that's a personal issue. I'm not speaking as a director. That's just a personal thing. And I agree with you a little bit more. I'd like to go back to developing some of our smaller restrooms, those small park restrooms. If we can work those out with the other departments that will help us out with that, we will look towards that. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got another question here.
Oh, Coach. I'm so happy when St. Anthony guy go and help out some Lunas out of here, so thank you very much.
Hey, I let you win plenty of games already. Okay, come on now.
No, thank you very much for everything you're doing. This is I'm so glad you guys named it Ho'okumuho because it's a lot easier than elemental QRPZ, whatever. But, so I haven't come for, I think, 3 meetings, and when I walked in the door, I thought I knew everything. I was, I'm going to tell these guys off, but now, being at the meeting and listening, I don't know as much as I thought I did. But again, the Ho'okumuho still doesn't really help the landowners who live in their houses, who have insurance, who still don't qualify. So we never even apply because we don't qualify. I have a property where my mother-in-law and father-in-law live on. We built them through Samaritan Spurs a house. We're building our house with some help. So now our original house was the only one that was legal and was permitted. And we're gonna build it back to the footprint that it was, the 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. But because I had help in the other houses, the 2 illegal houses, I don't qualify because I had help. So I was gonna say that from the first days working with Zeke and with the mayor, and this is like day 2 and day 3, and trying to figure out what everything was, we learned a lot about liquid and pivot. So that was 2 words that was happening. We set up stuff, not gonna work. We gotta be liquid, we gotta be able to move, we gotta be able to pivot. Then when this came out, I was gonna say, what you gonna do with the money at the end, the leftover money? Because we don't qualify, so you're gonna have extra. Oh, no, everyone's like, oh, we're gonna put them into affordable housing, we're gonna do something. Okay, so then I said, okay, so it's not liquid, it's not pivot, it's rigid, it's stuck the way it is. That's the way we have to do it. It has to be that way through HUD. Okay, I understand that. That's when I came in the door, okay. But now I hear we might buy land with that money to make mitigation. We might pay for the bypass. So we are not rigid. We are able to make changes, but just not to help the people who need the help. Because in this disaster, I've learned that the people who help make out way more than the people who need help. And we don't make out. So, I mean, there's a lot of things. You can take the money and say, okay, we're gonna build houses with Kamehameha Schools and Bishop Estates. We can put $600,000 in that. You get one mortgage for another 200 and you buy one house. And now we don't go to affordable housing. We go to houses that we can afford, which is a lot different, because if we was to put that $1 billion into affordable housing and low-income housing, what does that make our community look like? I'm not saying there's bad people. I'm saying when you're in that and you got to make a certain amount of money to qualify to stay in that housing, you have no desire to get better. If I said, John, you're doing such a great job, I want to give you a raise, I want to promote you to a supervisor. Oh, thank you, thanks for noticing. Oh, you know what? The $2 raise is not going to help me buy one house, but I got to stay in my housing and I got to make so much money, so I'm going to stay in that. I'm going to go on food stamps, and I'm not going to ever try to get better and move up because I'm stuck in this level. So how do we help the guys who work so hard to live here and move forward when the best option we get is to not work, tell my wife stop working so we can afford to get this low income or subsidized housing qualify, because that's all we can afford to live in. So I love the fact that it's there. I love the fact all the work that you guys did. I'm not saying that you guys not doing nothing. All of you guys doing stuff. You guys all working hard for us. The program is the problem. The way it's set up is the problem, not the people who run it. So that's what we got to try to figure out. If we can say we can put $100 million of money that's supposed to go to residents coming back to Lahaina, then maybe we can just say something to get the people who actually live in houses, who had houses, who have a mortgage and had insurance that don't qualify anymore, to get something. Because I still got to build one more house, and I don't know how I'm going to do them. And that's where mental health and that's where everything else falls in, because when you take away hope is when you lose it. If you always have hope, no matter if you cannot make it meet, but you have the hope to move forward, then you can always move forward. But you take away the hope, you're going to have somebody who is on the edge of falling off. And so thank you for listening to me. And again, I appreciate everything that you guys do. I'm not saying that you guys doing anything wrong. I just say that sometimes the programs doesn't fit the need. Mahalo.
John?
I can.
Mayor, excuse me. I did have 2 more questions. Do we still have time?
Okay, but I think we should talk about this just a little bit. I know Mayor wants to. But I feel what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you at all. So where we can pivot within these programs to meet additional needs, like say when programs still have some money left and we can move the bar, we will, but we couldn't start there. You got to understand the constrictions that HUD had. So we hear you. We're looking at, just like we looked at that permitting data where we're looking at all those trends, we're doing that right now, and we're trying to figure out ways to help more people. So as that picture gets clearer and clearer, I know it takes more time for us to do that, and I know that's not the emotionally satisfying answer, but we're not so rigid that we can't change at all, but we had to start somewhere, and we did. We got all the stuff rolling. Some of it's working really, really well. Some of it we're going to tweak along the way. Your feedback, and in actually such a nice way, is what helps us shape those programs. But I'm sure Mayor has some additional thoughts.
Mahalo ke koa, and you're absolutely right in your observation. But what I wanted to share for the perspective of our team is that we had to meet certain categories. So the money that we're using for the highway and the money we're using to buy out the properties along the line are not monies that would have gone to housing. We had to spend money on what's called mitigation. That's one of the big reasons HUD gave us this money. We gave a very, very small percentage to that, but we had to put something in there. So those aren't monies that were taken from one program and put in another program. They were the programs that we needed to meet. We have 6 program areas that we met. 900 million is housing. 900 million of the 1.6. 400 million is infrastructure. And there's smaller amounts given to economic development. I'm going to tell you right now, folks in economic development think we didn't put enough in that. You're right. This was intended for housing. And that's where most of the money is going. The infrastructure is going to help people be able to build back and get back along the Front Street area and some of those places that were damaged. But we are working within the oversight and the compliance requirements of HUD to the best of our ability. And believe me, we're doing things here that they have never done before in HUD. For example, first-time home buyers who are renters. That's a program that's never been done in the country. But that was the feedback we got in our community meetings, and you were very vocal at those meetings. I know you know exactly which ones I'm talking about. Where we said, hey, you guys get 85% of your community are renters. So we gave a very small portion, 150 units or program can go to that program, because we thought that was the need that this community spoke to. And when I say renters, you guys all know what I'm talking about. Multi-generational families. People, when we say renters, it's the child renting from the parent, right? We're not talking about people from outside. And if you hear the names of the families that have been getting those awards, you will recognize every name of those families. So yes, we made calls, we made decisions to try to help the most people we could help and still stay within HUD's requirements. Because the last thing we want to do is lose these funds because we never do them right. And now we got to give them back, pay them back, or we can't give them out. So, you know, we've never done this before. I will admit that as well. And so I know everybody's working on it. We get the feedback. We're trying to help everybody. But there are some pukas, I'm going to tell you that. But it's not because we're trying to create pukas. It's because we're trying to stay in compliance. And so we can help the folks we're helping. And thank you for you guys' patience, because I know you got a lot of data tonight, and we're trying to wind this down. You guys are welcome to come up and speak to us one-on-one. And Shane wanted me to say to the folks who was asking about the reservoirs, hey, thanks. Okay, all right, guys.
Oh, boy. How long have they been waiting to say that one? Shane?
We're still
So we want to allow enough time. I know, I see you waving, Morris, hang on. We want to allow enough time for people to get to the tables without going home very late tonight, because it's a work night, a school night, a dinner time. So we're going to take a few more questions. I know we have Jackie waiting over there. Hang on, Morris, we have Jackie first. So we're going to go there first, and then we'll go there, and then we're going to invite everyone, and Laurie, and then we're going to invite everyone to come here. So first, Jackie. Back that side and back that side. Go ahead, Jackie.
Thank you so much. And thank you
Question,
all.
right?
This, yes, the important information, positive stuff is really helpful. FEMA, I need to know if there is a plan for the looming possibility of housing insecurity due to the rental increases. I fully understand and appreciate, like, we very much needed this extension for the direct lease program. But we're looking at Kupuna who were paying $50 that are being told they need to pay $500. And so we just need to make sure that there's some steps in place. And so I'm wondering like what kind of contingency plans are being discussed. And also what is considered an acceptable rental resource, because that is another thing that we're getting conflicting information on. So John, you can't answer this. I need FEMA.
Yeah, John's gonna do his best, and then we're gonna move that way, and then to Laurie, and then we're gonna go back to Mayor.
I mean, I can't answer that directly, and FEMA's here, so please, as soon as this is over, go talk to them. But those questions aren't lost on us either, and we are working with all of our partnerships that offer rental assistance programs that are out there today, currently. Thank you. There was,
yeah. Aloha.
Hello.
It's actually, the question will be for you, John.
Oh, okay.
But before I ask you the question, I just wanted to clear a couple of things up as far as the R1. So there is nothing yet that is binding anybody. So if you are now allocated a certain amount of R1 recycled water, it doesn't mean that you have to stop your use of potable water. So it's going to come down to a legislative change, and hopefully we can get there, because there needs to be some give and take there. As far as the parks, a recommendation given on the R1 topic, potentially implementing that dual meter system at our parks, or for any potential new construction of restrooms in these park areas, implementing that dual meter system so that we can utilize R1 water to irrigate and flush toilets, so we're not wasting potable water. So something to recommend there. And then for you, John, the Okumuho program specifically, I know we've spoken about it before, but just for everybody else to hear. Specifically with the reconstruction program, there are certain, certain homes that you can build and utilize and choose from. But there are instances where you may be on the shoreline, or it doesn't fit within your boundary of your property that you can build upon. So will there be some leniency there on the size, the build, and the design?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting into really specific design discussions. If you get into the reconstruction program, so say you're eligible for that particular program, and there's 12 different models of homes, but none of those homes actually fit the right way on that piece of property, then the county would be obligated to work out a solution for that. It would be a very unique solution because of the property that you own, but that is something that it depends on eligibility, it depends on the property, it depends on all kinds of things with zoning and particular shoreline regulations. So we can't do anything that's outside of the law, but we would be obligated to help that family rebuild.
Okay, and following up to that, as far as you will have designated contractors that would, build these properties. But we know that there are local contractors here that would charge only $350 to $400 a square foot, as opposed to $700 to $900. Is there a potential to have leniency there too? Because, for example, there are people in SMA areas. Once your home construction goes above 500,000, you have now triggered an SMA major, meaning you have to get an environmental impact assessment. You got to take it in front of the planning department and do all of these extra things. And then by the time you can go and build, the program is no more. So is there a way that something like that can be implemented?
Yeah, I want to be careful not to mix and match between the programs and the rules. So I think that's something that we can come back with another day and talk about the things that we have helped streamline in terms of the process, so that timing issue isn't the problem. If planning department was here, they're not here tonight, but I might call them up. I don't know if Aaron wants to weigh in on this or not, but probably not right now. I just don't want to confuse the issue because I don't want to discourage people from signing up for our programs, and I really appreciate this question. So first sign up to see if you're eligible. We will work through with you to see how we can make it a successful build. If you don't know how to get there, like the reimbursement program, say you're just like, oh, I can't even get there because of these timelines, come and talk to us and then we'll see if there's anything we can do to help you get there. Like our goal is to get you home one way or another. So if it doesn't quite fit in Ho'okumuho, there are a whole bunch of other partners out here that the county's funding that could possibly help get you there. And then we do have direct relationships with all the departments that sign off on all the permits, so we can help. That's all I can say for that. Yeah.
Mahalo. And this is for the administration as a whole. It's not a question, it's a statement, so you guys can sit down. I am not representing Lahaina Strong when I say this. This is me as a Lahaina community member, not clocked in, so as far as ethics go, you don't have to worry. But I just wanted to say I do appreciate you guys. First time in my life have I ever seen any of our government officials be approachable, you know, and be willing to and be willing to even accept when you may not know or you may be wrong. You know, you leave your ego out of the way, and whether people believe in the administration or not, we need to believe in continuity. All of these programs is going to take a lot for somebody else to come in, and we're kind of going to just be pushed off to the side. And all of the things that we've all worked on could potentially be dismantled at some point, you know? So I just wanted to say that to this community. For me, it's that important for the survival of this town and this place. We're heading in such an amazing direction right now where our locals are being put first for the first time. So I just want to, you know, hats off to you guys and mahalo.
Hello, I'm going to be the last one.
We're going to take one more question, Laurie, and then we're going to allow for people to use their time at the tables. We've been at this for a couple hours. Laurie, go ahead.
So I was like Kekoa, kind of came in here a little hot-headed today. I know Joe Campos is on his way out, and he's from the States, so I'm going to go hit on him to go take back a message from Lahaina. Congratulations on all the good wins for the county and this administration, on the extension announcement, the parks. There's so much good news going on. But I need Joe to go take home messages back to Oahu, to the governor, because I have questions in regards to the rebuilds of, say, Front Street Apartments, Lahaina Serve, Pi'ilani Housing, David Malo, Halimaha'olu, Weinberg Apartments, the shelter behind the Aquatic Center, the apartment south of the park. I watch all the new apartments on Keawe Street, Tamura's old apartment building by them, the Ho'onanea, Opukea, Kohoma Village, they're all coming up. You just extended FEMA for one more year. Your first development back is going to be Front Street Apartments and not ready till 2029. When are you, or when is the state going to see the urgency on the rebuild back of these properties that house more than one family, but multiple families and multiple of our renters that are here staying in that FEMA housing? So that is one message I would like you to take back. The other is my mom's property. She's a 84-year-old kupuna trying to get back. We applied for our building permit back in September. I didn't really know the greatness about the MAPS program on the county site. It's something that anyone who's in the building permit going through the process should actually watch how your dial moves and when you need to go advocate for yourself, because your contractor or your architect, they're busy doing multiple. And so you kind of have to go and look and say, hey, what's holding up my thing? And let me go find out. And so in the end, my mom's property is in Kaula subdivision where many houses are being built. We are being required to do archaeological monitoring. It has taken me, I think, months to get past this. I've been pissed about it. I had argued about When we did the debris cleanup, they had cultural monitors. Why didn't we do it at that time? Or if we're going to fill, because you did grade a lot from the debris cleanup, then we aren't digging so deep. I also inquired with neighbors who are in the same subdivision, who basically some wrote a letter and some just paid. I don't feel that's fair. I also don't hear any chatter about it up in Lahaina Luna or in the Wahikuli area. So I'm asking that the state needs, or somebody needs to represent us, and I never see our state reps here representing us to make things happen. My mom has been on that property for 40 years. This subdivision was approved back with county. The county approved it. This is not new development, and that's another thing that gets me upset. I never fight for just myself. I always fight for my community members who are going to have to deal with the same BS, and that is going to cost us thousands of dollars to get monitoring done on property that we have lived on for a very long time. So again, take your message back, Joe.
In case you're wondering who she's pointing to from the other side of the room, that is Deputy Director Joe Campos from the State of Human Concerns.
I cannot hear you. I was in a bad mood today.
Joe is reminding
and
you
let me
to
tell
continue to text him.
You want to hear how dumb the mayor is? He chooses me to be here, and this is what he gets every week. So don't feel bad for him, okay? He chose this, but I'm just going on the record. I don't normally talk here because I feel I get a chance to talk to Mayor and the team, and I like for everyone else to get a chance to bring their issues to the forefront. But today, I'm fighting on behalf of my mom. I did not bring her today, but someone needs to fight for Kupuna, and so here I am today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laurie.
Good job.
So, Joe, you might get that in text form multiple times this week. Yes, but in all seriousness, I think that is a valid concern that needs attention. Okay, he always takes your text messages, but what she wants is not just taking a message, but I'm hearing she wants like action. All right, we are going to remind you, you can come and visit anyone here. And you know how we have these nice signs that tell you who's sitting at the table? So you all know that Parks and Recreation has all these fun summer pals program. So true to form, we hand wrote their sign, no disrespect to them, but just a reflection of how much we enjoy their programs. Okay, so you know that's BS, right? I just forgot to print a sign. Please come and ask them your questions, including Pat McCall next to his Parks and Rec sign. Mahalo, everybody. Drive safe. Take care. Aloha.